Our next step in before we get to bonding is trying to figure out what type of ion we have. Is it a cation or an anion? And so if you think back to when we were learning about ions and isotopes, we remember that ions are atoms that gain or lose electrons. And so cations are positive and anions are negative. You can remember cations because it has the word cat in it, and cats have paws, and cations are positive. And so looking back at our two examples, we said the oxygen has 6 valence electrons, so it's gaining 2 valence electrons to get to 8. It's negative overall. So we need to decide whether it's a cation or an anion. And so because it's negative overall, if we go up here to our two types of ions, we can see that negative, if an atom has an overall negative charge, that is an anion. And so when they're gaining electrons, they will become anions. So gaining electrons equals a negative charge, which means it will be an anion. Down here, we said that sodium has 1 valence electron, so because it has 1, it's going to lose that 1 to get to 8 valence electrons. And because it's losing electrons and we have more protons, it will have a positive overall charge. And so if we look up here at our two types of ions, cations are positive and anions are negative. And so because this one has a positive overall charge, it will become a cation. And so losing electrons equals positive overall, which equals a cation. So just a recap of everything that we've talked about so far. When we have an atom that has 1, 2, or 3 valence electrons, it is going to lose. And when it loses electrons and we have more protons than electrons, it will become positive overall, and that will be a cation. If we have an atom that has 5, 6, or 7 valence electrons, that means it's going to gain valence electrons to get to that 8. And so when it's gaining electrons, it becomes negative, and a negative ion is called an anion.